that's probably the reason, or the most used and sort of the most frequent reason to need to take possession back. But some other grounds that are going to be created, and there are others. I've focused on the main ones. But if the landlord's intends to sell their property, there will be a new route for a landlord to gain possession on that basis. However, that notice period is doubled. So as of today, we would give the tenant 2 months' notice. If that was the case, that is moving to 4. So we are suggesting to landlords that if selling a property is part of your future plans, perhaps you might want to start to think about that now. Perhaps you could start to make your sales plans now. What I would say, certainly if you wanted to speak to myself and Baxter, I don't know if you want to pop the sales call invite into the chat. Something I'm increasingly spending my time doing is assisting landlords who want to exit to secure sales. And usually we do that with tenant in place. So that actually gets rid of this altogether. But if you were thinking of a sale, this doubling of the notice period from 2 to 4, it's something you should think about, whether you want to progress on this before this comes in next summer. That might well be a route. Or certainly if you speak to someone like myself, it may well be that you can sell and achieve the sale with tenant remaining. There's certainly a lot of benefits to doing that. It's a piece of business that probably occupies most of my time now, helping landlords achieve that. So sell their property with tenants, selling onto a landlord who's looking to buy with tenant. It's a nice marriage of sale and purchase. So, but just to make you aware, that notice period would double. And or if landlord or family member intends to move back into the property, which we do see happen occasionally. So if landlords move away for a period of time to work and intend to reoccupy when they come back, they would have to now plan for 4 months' notice, not 2, for the tenant to vacate. And of course, if the tenant doesn't vacate at the end of the 4 months, it would still require a court hearing. So probably that is a 8 to 12 month journey instead of the sort of 2 months shorter journey. So you'll see there's this theme of it is absolutely a renter's rights bill, and some of landlords' abilities and legal rights are being stretched out. And I guess that does protect tenants, which I guess is great if we're protecting people from rogue landlords, but it is a bit of a problem for us who are trying to operate fairly and squarely. So we're just going to need to be mindful of these increased notice periods that have to be given. Repossession by a mortgage company, that wouldn't really affect us, and hopefully it won't affect anyone online. But if there was repossession by a mortgage company, usually the mortgage company takes control. So that would be something that they would have to deal with themselves. But I guess that is giving tenants a little bit more protection there, because we do see landlords being repossessed, and then the tenant sadly is hurriedly and quite insensitively evicted by mortgage companies. So I guess this is probably a good one where it would give the tenant a little bit more breathing space to make their arrangements to move on. And then a big one, this probably is one of the good positives actually. In all of the changes, this is probably one of the things I would point to that is positive for antisocial behaviour, which has always been immensely tricky to prove. We, as a letting agent, had a case some years back, and we actually went to court with a police officer who was there to sort of confirm our case for what was happening at this property.